Hello. Welcome back to Siah Chattin podcast. If you guys don't already know, and for those who are new, my name is Siah Dixon. And hey, y'all, like, what's up? What's cracking? What's popping? You see what I'm saying? I hope you guys have been doing good. Hope you guys have been taking care of you guys' self. Hope you guys have been kind to yourself. And I hope this past month has been nothing but bliss for everyone that's listening to this podcast. Truthfully, I know it has for me. I actually want to give you guys a little update for how things have been so far. Like, you know where I've been at. Because I did say I was putting out episodes every week or 2 weeks. But at this point, I want to make sure I'm putting it out at timely manners, not only for you guys, but for myself, where I don't feel like I'm just rushing to put something out for you guys. And that is actually at a time where I feel like I resonate with the topic the most. So with that, I chose to record today. So that's what we're getting into for the day. But to go back to what I was starting with earlier, I've actually just got back in from town. I was actually in LA for the weekend. I was actually out there for Rolling Loud with my best friend Isaiah. I was there to be, on site with him while he was interviewing some celebrities and stuff like that. Very fun, very cool, out of the world experience. Met some very cool ass people. It was a cute vibe. It was a very fun, just enjoyable time, to be outside with your friends, to be out of state with your friends and just in the sun. Y'all know, I told y'all I've been loving the sun a lot more, okay? I've been loving it so much more, you know what I mean? So I really been able to resonate with being in a moment lately and being with my friends, and that's what I did in Cali. I was in the moment, I was with friends, and I got to meet some really cool people and some very caring and supportive people, sweet people. And I'm excited to go back out to Cali. I'm honestly so excited. I'm planning on going back out there very soon. But until then, we got to get back to work and we got to tap in and put, our needs to the front and not our wants. You know what I mean? But let's start off that to say, I have been doing really good. I've been doing really good mentally, emotionally, physically. My 75 hard actually ended when I was in Cali. So that was fun, cute little 1-2 to kind of celebrate my accomplishments, but not overdo it, not get crazy drunk, obviously. But let me give me a little glass of wine or a shot or something. But, obviously that's something that was just done on that day. I don't really plan on doing that going out of my 75 hard, I guess you can say. But I feel good. I feel really good. I feel really thankful. I'm in an era of bliss and gratitude and happiness. And that's kind of where we're aiming towards one of the few topics that we're going to be talking about today on today's podcast. We're going to be talking about mental health. Yes, it's such a crazy conversation, and it's kind of a touchy and vulnerable conversation for some, obviously, out of respect, but it's something I've grown such a love of talking about, and I love expressing it, and I love expressing myself, which is why we're doing this podcast. So I can express to you guys, and sometimes I have a huge habit of, this is getting very vulnerable. Woo. Sometimes I have a huge habit of giving good advice and giving out the advice and not really taking it within myself. And that's where I also feel like the podcast is here to help those who need it, but also here to allow me to hold myself accountable, for things like that. So when I'm giving you guys this advice, it's kind of just a snap back into reality for myself to, you're saying all these things, but make sure you're actually applying that to yourself as well. So that's what we're going to do. And I do feel like this episode might be a little personal for me, but I'm going to talk about it with ease, So we will be tackling my mental health journey, my highs, my lows, where I found out where they kind of stemmed from and stuff, and just go on from there. Obviously, we're not going to go crazy into detail about it, but just to give you guys a surface level of it. 2024 was probably the biggest year for me, mentally, when it comes to growing and supporting my mental health. I went through a very negative era of mine. We're going to say that. I was in a very dark space of mine that consisted of relationships and, new eras, moving, all these things. And I kind of felt like everything was against me at the time. And I was kind of at like an all-time low. I didn't really know how to support my mental health. I didn't really know how to direct it somewhere else or transfer it into something positive. I was just in a very dark spot, I was in a very dark spot, and it was something that I feel like was eating me up every single day. I would resort to drinking and, smoking and all these things. And I feel like with that, I didn't know who I was as a person for the longest time. And I say that from beginning of January 2024 until almost about October was probably when I finally found peace and love within my mental health journey and was able to embrace it and come out of that dark space. And it took months for me to finally realize what mental health looks like to me. So obviously mental health looks different in, forms for other people. Everybody copes and deal with things differently. But ideally, I knew for me that I needed to go about things a lot more positively. I knew I needed to surround myself around positive people in moments of need, because I feel like times that I didn't know how to handle my mental health, I just wanted to be surrounded by friends. We all need to be surrounded by friends and positive people, positive entities who can take us out of our funk and who can put us in rooms and spaces where we have no other space but to just laugh. We have no other choice but to laugh. And I love that. But I say all that to say, it's key to make sure you're finding your points and your placements of comfort when it comes to knowing what helps you with your mental health. But I was in a very dark space in 2024, and I was kind of in a space of feeling like everything was getting thrown at me 24/7, like boom, like deals and managements and friends and family and relationships and moving. It was a lot of stuff that I never really dealt with growing up because, going through the stages of being an adult, as we all do. And I was so scared of failure. I was so scared of failure. That was one of my biggest things. And I did feel like a lot of things done to me was a test from God. And in these moments, I didn't see it as test. I just saw it as, oh my gosh, like shit just keeps happening to me. Like a bitch can't just get off free. So it's like I had to really sit with these things, and it took me almost about to fully like crash out and just spiral out and just completely black out for me to realize like this is not my story. This isn't my story. This isn't how my story ends. This isn't how any of my books start in the eras that I'm approaching in the near future. This isn't my story. And with that is actually where I started my 75 Hard. If you guys obviously know me talking about that briefly, you guys can go to my channels to get more of an in-depth of what a 75 Hard consists of and looks like. But I did that to better myself. I feel like that was something that I knew I needed, a challenge to get myself out of a hole and feel like it's intentional. One thing about being in a high mental space, in a high any mental capacity, your best mental capacity, is to be intentional. I was so big on making sure I'm trying to be intentional when it comes to me bettering my future and bettering my attitude and my emotions and my moods and surrounding myself with more positive things. So that's why I did my 75 Hard. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this in about 4 or 5 days. This is when I was thinking about it. I remember I talked about it briefly in July with one of my best friends. I was like, you heard about the 75 Hard? She was like, yeah, I heard about it, but that stuff is hard, like, I don't know. And I just kind of paid it. I was like, oh, okay, like I heard about it, but like it sounds interesting, like it sounds fun. But then I went through what I went through at the end of July, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to start this. Like, I need this. Like, this is what's going to make me come out of this dark, deep hole of depression and just come out 10 times stronger, not only physically and, just emotionally and mentally. Like I knew I was better than the place I was put in, and I knew that I had enemies out there against me and was waiting for me to just fall, but I knew that was not going to be my story. I knew that it wasn't going to be my story. So I decided to start my 75 hard. I decided to keep going and keep pushing. And with that, I was waking up every day at 7 a.m. I was going to the gym for 2 hours. I was running in 98-degree weather every single day, whether it was a mile, 3 miles. Within those runs, I would be reading my book of positivity, listening to podcasts, eating 3 times a day. I was drinking my water, nothing but water, no soda, no juices. I I was in such I had such a crazy drive. I had such a crazy drive because I feel like it was something that gave me life. I feel like it was something that made me feel like I have something to live for and look up to, and something that's, obviously hard. And the first week of my 75 hard was crazy. It was crazy. It was something that was very, very, very difficult for me because, you gotta deal, I wouldn't say like withdrawals, but like not going to sleep as late as I used to. Like, it was harder for me to go, or as early. It was harder for me to go to sleep. It was harder for me to eat. Eating was very, very difficult for me for the longest time. But now I'm in a space where I'm able to eat anything. But with that first week was what I struggled with the most, and drinking, my gallon of water and running. I probably threw up twice when I was starting my run. And with that, like, it felt like a cleanse. Like, I was cleansing myself of all this negative built up spirit and energy that was just inside of me. Like, I was just cleaning it out, and it was just coming out of me the more and more I decide to wake up and try another day. That's the biggest thing. Because tomorrow's obviously never promised, but tomorrow can be way better than it was today. And you just keep going, you keep pushing, and that's what I did. I kept growing and I kept pushing, and I knew that I needed to prioritize my mental growth in order to be successful in life. I knew I needed to do that. I had to embrace that, and that consisted of me reading. You guys need to read. Reading is so I don't even know the word. It just gives me chills. Like, I feel like reading just brings a different type of comfort to me. It soothes my mind and just takes me out of the present in the moment and just be so deep into a book and so excited. I compare, obviously, reading a book to watching a show, to a movie. Like, you're on the edge of your seat, like, what's about to happen next, but it's in the form of a book. I love reading. And prioritizing your mental is finding things that feeds your inner child, or finding things that make it easier for you to cope with things. Like, I want to get into knitting really bad. Somebody out there probably loves drawing. Somebody out there probably loves modeling. You got to be able to find the thing that resonates with you the most. Something that you used to do all the time as a child is probably something you still like doing to this day. I used to love running as a child. I loved running when I was in high school. And to this day, I still love running because it feels like a way for me to express myself. Even when it comes to dancing, I love dancing so much because I express myself in that way. I feel very flamboyant and free and fluid and versatile. And I feel like there's been moments I was bawling my eyes out in the middle of a full dance session. Like, I really wish I was kidding, but you find things that you find such a deep love for, and it's so emotional, and it puts you in such a vulnerable state that you haven't felt this either in a long time or with anything, honestly. And that's when it all clicks, like, oh, like, this is something I need to do to prioritize my mental health, is just go back to what I used to truly love. And that's what I did. Prioritizing your love can be finding love in things that you used to love doing. You could love painting and you stopped for a year. You're like, you know what? I actually had a lot of joy doing that. Well, start painting, start drawing, start playing an instrument. I find a lot of joy of also, like, finding new things to do. Like, I've never played the guitar before. I would love to learn how to play the guitar. Just setting aside a challenge for myself to put my mental growth, just get it driving, keep it going, keep it pushing, keep it growing. I feel like with that, it brings kind of a sense of excitement towards everything that you're doing when you're intentional about it. You know what I mean? So prioritizing your mental growth can consist of all of those things, and taking yourself out on a date, and, like I said, working out. And you know what? This week I'm gonna what's the word? This week I'm going to stick to making sure I'm eating healthier. and you explore different food options that that is healthy for you and makes you feel good when you go to sleep. When you wake up, you feel energized, and you're like, you know what, I truly enjoy that. I love going deep and doing deep dives and finding the right information for my body type and what's healthy for me and makes me feel good as a person. You already got your mental growth points right there. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like with that, it brings so much peace to you. You have so much peace. And I love doing my 75 hard for that reason, because I found so much peace into it. Granted, I went through a lot of traumatic things during the first month of traumatic thing, singular plural. I went through a lot of things during the first month of my 75 hard. But with that, I knew that was a test. I was like, you know what, I could either really crash out again, or you're like, you know what, pay it. God has me covered. I'm going to keep pushing, because I know where I'm at right now. I'm already bettering myself. I can see a change in my energy, a change in my mood. And right there was like I wouldn't even say breaking point. What's the word? Right there was like my realization that like, I'm not my problems. And I feel like some of us have a habit of getting into that. And I feel like you guys, I want to tell anybody who's listening to this that you are not your problems. You are not what you go through. You are not what you experience. You are not what people project onto you. Always remember, people's ideology of you is just a projection of themselves. That's the biggest thing. That's a huge thing to always just keep deep down inside you, and don't take your eye off your goal or something that means the most to you. People will tear you down, or whenever somebody doesn't support your dream and doesn't see the dream in their eye, they're going to tear you down. But that's because that's not their dream, it's yours. You have a different view on what you have and what you want in life than other people. Now, either they can support it, be like, you know what, I don't understand it as well, but I support it, and I'm cheering for you. I would take that rather than somebody saying, oh yeah, you know what, you're not capable of that. That's kind of like impossible. Like, I wouldn't even go for it. Those are the people you need to eliminate out of your life. You don't need those type of people in your life, because it's going to do nothing but stagnate your growth, and make you feel like you're not worthy of being successful. Chasing your dreams and chasing the things that make you happy and stimulates you. At the end of the day, you're doing this for you. This life you're living is for you, and it's not for anybody else. And that's something that I used to struggle with a lot. This is for you. This is your story. They don't have the pen. They don't have the paper. They don't have to erase things. They're simply reading the book. And with that comes a sense of comfort, knowing that you're in control of everything that comes and goes into your life. It's just all about being intentional. You have to be intentional. You need to be very intentional with your life in order to get what you want out of this life. This life ain't easy. It's not easy. I can sit here and tell you that. It's not easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to make it hard for yourself. Sometimes we have a habit of making things a lot harder for ourselves, but you don't have to do that. And I encourage you not to do it. Where you are in life is perfect. You don't need to be anywhere else. If you feel like you want to be farther in life, it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you naturally. As long as you're playing your part and you're putting in the work that you need to, as much as you can, to make it possible, God's going to make it possible for you. Truthfully, just be very intentional. Because the moment that you do fail, or the moment that you do give up, you fail. And that right there is just terrible. I'd rather keep trying than give up. And that's where I am in life right now, is that I'm not where I want to be, but I know I want it so bad because my future self already has it. So just keep going. Keep going. Just keep going. Keep pushing. Keep being the best version of yourself that you can. And with that, you'll be able to find so much peace in it. And with that also, I want to say, when it comes to peace, for those who struggle with finding peace in just being in the moment and being present and, just really resonating with that, I want to tell you guys that, like, we see you guys. We see you, we feel you, we hear you, and we know how difficult it can be to kind of just accept things for what they are and accept things for how things are, and kind of just be in a space of, you know what, like, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm where I need to be. And with that holds so much volume. And with that, that's enough. That's enough. That's perfect, actually. Life doesn't need to be more complicated than you make it, but it's okay to sit down and look at the trees and not just the forest. It's okay to be still. I had to learn that. I had to learn to be still. It's okay to recognize the little things in life and have grace for all the things that you do get in life and things that you do in life. And, give people grace. And obviously, the biggest of them all, give yourself grace. But with that, it's really important to make sure that you kind of just take deep breaths every day. We get so caught up in doing this and doing that and doing this that we don't really take a step back and just breathe and just lock in this moment and lock in where you are in life. So, if anything, if now, if whenever, you just take a deep breath. Let's just take a deep breath. And just feel present. Feel present. Feel in the moment. Know that you're exactly where you need to be. Notice that you are doing everything you need to be, and you're doing everything you need to do to be in a higher place, a better place. Patience is something that I've always struggled with. So I want to tell you guys that patience is truly key. It really is. I hate saying it, but it's like patience is key. You got to stay patient. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust that Rome wasn't built in a day. The littlest efforts go a long way. And there's a certain part in a song on Doechie's album, and I think it's called Stink. Basically, I might be saying the wrong song, but once I say the lyrics, you might know what I'm talking about. But it basically consists of saying that there's 24 hours in a day. You do what you can in those days, and you go to bed, and you save the rest for the next day. Meaning that you do what you can. You do what you can, and you do what you're capable of doing. And once that day is over, you did what you need to do, and you go into your next day. Don't beat yourself up of not accomplishing so much or accomplishing all that you did do. You could be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to do this one thing out of the 17 things that you just put on your to-do list on what you need to do, and you finish all of them but that one. That's okay. That's something you can add to the next day to give yourself grace. Like, you know what? I didn't do all my things on my to-do list, but I did what I could, and with that, that's all that matters. When it comes to going to the gym, damn, I didn't get to stay at the gym for a whole hour, but you showed up. You came. You worked out. You was there for 30 minutes. You did something rather than just sit on your bed or, put in your mind that you weren't going to be able to go in the first place. But in real life, you were able to go and you did it. And for that, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I feel like we're in a stage, or maybe all of us, some of us are in the same era where we don't get, I'm proud of you a lot. But for those who are listening to this, I'm very proud of you. And I'm saying this not only to you, but to myself as well. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of how far we all had came as people. We have went through a lot of rocky and tough situations, and we've came out of them 10 times stronger. Some of the situations that we went through, obviously in those moments, we felt that we were never able to overcome, but we did. We did, and we paid it, and we had God on our side. We wrote, we read, we prayed, and prayed, and things are way better mentally than it was before. And for that, there's so much love to have for being alive and being grateful, and just being grateful for who you are as a person and as unique as you are. It's very, very, very important to realize that, so you can go about life smiling ear to ear and just be happy that God put you on this earth the way that you are, because you're unique. You're unique, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're special. And with that, all of us hold so much power when it comes to that. And that's something that I wish all of us, and I'm manifesting for those who is listening to this podcast, I'm manifesting that for you if you struggle with it. Realize your worth. Realize that you're capable of being strong. You're capable of beating any type of obstacle or hardship that you go through, because we are not our problems. It's okay with being still. It's okay to not feel lonely. Being alone doesn't mean that you're lonely. You find love and you find caterings into things that make you happy. It feeds your inner child. It feeds the things that you truly love doing. So sometimes being alone is amazing. It's a gift. It's okay. You just have to find joy within it. I can't wait to talk to you guys about my next episode, because that's gonna be one I'm going to yap on about. But love yourself. Truly love yourself. Truly love yourself. And make sure you love your mental growth journey. Love every aspect and up and down of your mental journey. You're not going to feel it every single day, and that's okay. That's okay, girl. It's okay. You don't have to feel it every single day. You're not, and we'll be realistic. I'm always gonna be realistic with you guys. You're not gonna be okay every single day. You're not. You're not gonna be okay every single day. And with that, the days that you don't feel like doing something, or the days you don't feel like moving out of bed, those are the most crucial times to do it. So do it. Discipline is everything. Discipline is everything when it comes to it. So with that, I say that it's very important to make sure you're catering to your inner child when it comes to your mental growth, because I feel like that's the best way to grow your mental state and your mental health, and prioritizing it in a way where it feels loved and nurtured, like I said, like a child. So those are my key things that I love doing when it comes to mental growth and mental happiness. Even my girlies who are in school, okay, I know how hard schoolwork and how school in general can be on your mental. Trust me, it's something that I can't take away from any, college student, anybody that's in high school, anybody. I feel like it's something that's very, I wouldn't say overlooked, but it's very hard to balance your mental health and balance your schoolwork and balance, your free time and, your me time and stuff like that. But with that, I advise you to find a balance with it all. I ask you to make sure you're catering to yourself by also, catering to your schoolwork. Health is 100% wealth. Wealth is not more than health. So I feel like with that, don't over stress yourself. Don't do too much. Don't overthink it. And do little things to help prioritize your mental growth. When it's like, you know what, I did my homework for this amount of time, I'm going to take a walk. Nature walks help me so much to clear my mind and make me feel good and be present and just take in everything that's around me. And I feel like with that, you can do so many things like that when it comes to taking your mind off of college work and school work in general, because that can be very hard on us as people, and being able to find that balance can be hard for a lot of people. But I believe that it's possible for you. I believe that it's possible for you to accomplish it and, overcome it in a sense where you know what you're worthy of and know that you're more than just this external thing as of schoolwork and stuff. You're more than it. So I hope that brings you ease. Truthfully, I don't feel like people taking how seriously it is to take in writing. Just writing out your thoughts and doing video entries and, journal entries just at the start of your morning. I feel like that's something that helps take all the agony and worry off of your mind, being able to express it on paper, because sometimes our mind is traveling with so much. And I feel like with that, it's easier to write it out. Write out your thoughts, you guys. Write out your guys' thoughts. Write out how you're feeling. Keep it next to your bed every night, every morning. A moment that you feel like you have free time, just write. Just write. It doesn't have to be crazy amount of pages. It can be half a page. It can be something that's very little, but you'll get so used to accustomed of doing it that it would never matter how long the page is. You're writing for you. So I advise people that are listening to this to let's write. Let's make that a task for us to do for this episode. Let's get into writing. Journaling our thoughts, journaling our overthinking thoughts, all the thoughts, negative, positive thoughts. Just put them down. Hold it dear to you. This is your journal. You wouldn't want anybody reading it. So hold this closely to your heart and to yourself, and make sure it means a lot to you. And it's a way for you to get closer with yourself, to be more self-aware with yourself. All this is a form of self-love, and we will go into that within the next episode. So for me, please write. Very, very crucial. But I really appreciate you guys listening to episode 2 of Mental Health. It was kind of a little light little podcast for you guys. Just, I talk fast, but I hope everything I said did make sense. And I gave you guys some pretty good examples of, being still and, ways to prioritize your mental growth and how to strengthen it over time and stuff like that to help you become a better person at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this journey is for you and you only. And there's such a beauty within that. And never forget it. Never forget it. You guys are all beautiful people. You guys all are worthy of love and happiness and, stillness. You guys are worthy of being successful and loved and, valued. I value all you guys that is watching this and listening to this. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I wouldn't be who I am and how I am as a person if it wasn't for you guys. And for that, I'm blessed and loved, and I'm wishing those blessings upon all of you guys. So this is Siah Be Chattin podcast, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time. Please subscribe, share this to those who you feel like needs to hear the message of mental health as well. And I will see you guys next episode. Talk to you soon.